अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यः यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षर समुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्. So, from food comes forth beings. Annad bhavanti bhutani. From rain, food is produced. Parjanyat anna sambhavaha. And from sacrifice arises rain. And sacrifice is born of action. Know you that action comes from Brahma. And Brahma comes from the imperishable Brahman. Therefore, the all-pervading Brahman ever rests in sacrifice. So the key word again over here is sacrifice. How sacrifice is holding the whole cycle or whole wheel of action. Let us see. Annad bhavanti bhutani. Yes, one thing we all know that beings are made up of food. I think human beings have not risen above this thought at all. We are stuck there. Food. Food is so important for us. Why? Human beings or any beings for that matter are made up of food. Fine. But there has to be something beyond it also. We must observe the whole wheel of action, not only one portion of it and then put all our emphasis in life on food only. Food is a part of our whole cycle. Let us see how. Annad bhavanti bhutani. Beings are made up of food, but where from the food comes? The food comes from rains. It's not only the food which we eat as vegetables or non-vegetarians would eat some animals also. Directly we don't eat. Even if we eat, it directly does not become our blood. So there's this assimilation, the process of digestion and assimilation takes place. So ultimately it breaks again into minerals and other things, gases and liquids and minerals and all. Those particles are then digested and assimilated, and then it flows like blood, and then it nourishes the body. So there's a whole process behind it. Anyway, not only that, so we cannot say that the rain directly falls on the vegetables and then the vegetables. No, the vegetables are also nourished by the rain water, because the rain is the food for the vegetables' nourishment also. And also to nourish the earth particles, the soil, the minerals, everything is being nourished by the rainwater, which gets assimilated somehow to nourish the bodies of the living beings. Okay? So rain is very important. But rain comes from where? Parjanya comes from yajna. Yajnat bhavati parjanya. There is this cooperative work going on from where we get the rains. So the sun and the sea and the clouds and the atmosphere and the temperature and the space and the mountains and the everything is involved. And we also can include the greenery around. Like we would have seen that where there are no trees, the rains also do not. Trees call for rains. So it's a whole cycle in which the plant kingdom is also contributing, in the animal kingdom contributing, in the inert matter contributing. There's a cycle going on. From that cycle, the rains come, and the rains nourish the same cycle again. Now that yajna comes from karma, action. Some activity only can produce cooperation in work. No, I am cooperating by not becoming an obstacle in your work is not considered to be sacrifice over here at all. We have that kind of cooperative people also, who don't create any trouble. They keep lying in one corner, doing nothing. Thank God he is not disturbing me, at least in my work. That's his part of cooperation. No. He has to be actively cooperating. In the attitude of sacrifice. Without that, there is no sacrifice. Yajnaha karma samudbhava. Karma is action. Action comes out of Brahma, consciousness. But this consciousness which is manifest, that comes out from unmanifest, imperishable, changeless, Supreme Brahman. Tasmad sarvagatam Brahma nityam yajne pratishtitam. Therefore, this all-pervasive supreme reality or consciousness or Brahman is ever present in sacrifice. When the Supreme is all-pervasive, then how can we say that it is present only in sacrifice and not otherwise? No, the question over here is that whether it is functioning as beyond sacrifice, whatever happens or not. It is not only up to sacrifice. From sacrifice happens rains, and from rains happens the food, and the food nourishes the beings, and therefore the beings are surviving. I as a being, I am surviving because of this whole wheel of action going on constantly, in which sacrifice is important. When there is no sacrifice of ego, then it is the wheel of action of ego and not the wheel of action of Brahma, the manifest consciousness. This is a vast difference between the two. One is the cycle of ego, the other one is the cycle of the divine. I have a choice whether to contribute in the cycle of ego by not sacrificing my ego, or contribute in the cycle of the divine by sacrificing my ego. Bhagavan has clearly told, rain means every productive potential in plenty. You try to water your garden with your available resources. It will be no match to the rains, the rain waters. The nourishment that comes from rainwater is unmatched. So you cannot replace it by watering your plants with some other water, which of course was once upon a time rainwater only. But now it has gone through some processes and some contamination, so it cannot produce the same effect. And that too in plenty. When the rain falls, it is in plenty. It nourishes the whole of the environment, right from where it is falling, the whole atmosphere to the plant, to the soil. Whereas if you plant water the plants, it is limited to that. So also, a selfish businessman working in the conditionings of ego and having the selfish motives will have a little business with little resources, with no expansion, no possibilities. One has to be having the attitude of sacrifice to have in plenty and to give in plenty, to share with everyone in plenty, like rain waters, quench the thirst of as many as possible around, indiscriminately. So for that you need tremendous productive potential. And you have, if you identify yourself with the divine, you have tremendous amount of productive potential. But if you identify with your ego, then it is very much limited. It is alpagnya, alpashaktiman, and that is sarvagya and sarvashaktiman. So therefore, very nicely Bhagwan has given the whole cycle, where Bhagwan definitely indicates that tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajne pratishtitam. If you want the divine to work, then let your ego be sacrificed. Otherwise, it will be a bondage.